Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam. I make videos about my life and self-care and self-love and skincare. I'm obsessed with skincare and I also like makeup. This is my first official video of 2020, which is like crazy. I'm really looking forward to continuing to talk about self-care and self-love and personal development throughout 2020 because it's something that is really relevant in my life right now. If you can relate, I think that this is like a great way for us to connect and help each other out and work through things together and offer input and advice and just be there for each other. I have this video prepped right here, and I wasn't really sure what to title this video. So I just started like writing down words, and the words that come up a lot in this video are going to be topics like internal change, real life, self-love, self-love advice. So I'm not quite sure what this video is going to be titled, but these are sort of just things that I am currently implementing into my life. They're sort of like habits or actions that I've implemented into my life to create internal change. That is sort of like the gist of this video, how to create internal change. And this is going to be like real life self-love advice because I like talking about the things that I experience in real life. I think that we have to like go through things and go through the hard and go through the good in order to be more self-aware and create internal change. The first habit or tip that I want to discuss with you guys is to change your actions. Something that I have experienced recently is this idea of recognizing that the only way I'm going to create actual change in my life is to change my actions. Because I think it's really easy for us to talk about the things that we want to change in our life or the things that we recognize are not serving us anymore or whatever it may be. I think that it's very easy to say, I want X, Y, or Z, or I should have X, Y, or Z, or I know I should do this, I know I should do that, but then not make any changes and not do anything differently. If you see my pen or paper, again, this is my prep for this video. It's very easy to pretend like we are making change or think that we are making change, but not actually make any change because we don't change our actions. This can look a little bit differently than just simply changing your actions. Sometimes actions that we're making are actually unintentional. So for example, not making a decision on something that needs your decision and needs to be changed in some way is actually making an informed decision. I know that might seem a little confusing, but basically not making a decision equals an action. It can sometimes be detrimental to not make any decisions because it can snowball. It's like this, it's like a snowball effect. It can sometimes turn into something that just gets worse and worse over time. And so just remember that not only is it important to figure out the changes that you need to make and make them, but remember, not making a decision, not taking action is an action. Okay, so my next piece of advice or habit is avoid throwing yourself into other people. And this is an action that I decided to put forth and change. Avoiding your feelings and throwing yourself into someone else, whether it be a parent, a sibling, a spouse, a partner, a friend. Throwing yourself into someone else is never going to fix the underlying problem within you. Sometimes we can justify throwing ourselves into people because we take this relationship in our life and we deem it in our minds as, you know, important and top priority and something that is meaningful to us. But when it starts to become a situation where you are more focused on the relationship first rather than your self-worth and your self-development first, that's where, you know, you're starting to cross a line. This has looked differently depending on the situation in my life. It's shown to look differently depending on who the person was in my life. But some examples that I thought about are when it comes to dating. I have noticed in the past that it has been easy for me to very much throw myself into dating if I am not wanting to really kind of work through whatever is going on with me in a particular moment in time and kind of like sift my way through heavy shit. It's so much easier for me to just care about someone else, invest in someone else, even if it's just like a day of my time or an hour of my time. It feels good to just, it can feel good to connect with someone else when you are feeling low internally. So constantly texting someone, even when they're not texting you, is a sign that you are possibly throwing yourself into someone when you should be really focusing inward. Another example that I feel like I've experienced is bad dates. When you're on a bad date and there's like clear red flags, like clear as day red flags, and you ignore those red flags and you push through those red flags and you accept those red flags. I said red flags a lot. That is also a clear sign that you are investing in someone before you invest in your self-worth and before you invest in you, which always has to come first, always. Again, I'm talking about these things as I move through them in life, so I'm not like an expert or anything. These are just things that I am learning as a young 20-something woman, single woman, and these are actual experiences that I am moving through in life and lessons that I'm learning. So I'm just sharing them with you in hopes that you resonate and connect with them. And yeah, so that is my second habit, which is avoid throwing yourself into other people. It can be so easy to do it, and it doesn't just look like that with dating. It could be a parent. You will never be able to create internal change if you are constantly putting someone else's self-worth above yours. So all of these things very much relate to one another. So for example, my first tip was change your actions, and my second was avoid throwing yourself into other people, and that is totally an action that you can take. And then also throwing yourself into other people really relates to my third habit or tip, which is know your security blankets. So know the things that you are going to gravitate or move towards when things get hard, when you feel lonely, when you feel sad, when you feel depressed. So when you are hurting and you need to heal and do the work to heal, it's so much easier to reach for the things that bring immediate gratification. So this could be things like people, food, alcohol, drugs. So anything that is going to give you that instant fix of gratification in moments of hurt and pain are honestly never going to bring you long-term happiness or gratification. Something that you can do is understand, what are your security blankets? Ask yourself that question. What are my security blankets? Write them down. Figure out the things that are your quick fixes that bring you immediate gratification, but that you know are not going to serve you long term. Write them down, understand them, dissect them, and then come up with a plan. How can you prepare for moments or periods of loneliness or frustration, sadness or hurt? How can you prepare so that you don't reach for these security blankets and you reach for other things that you know might be a little bit harder to do, but you know are worth it for your long-term self. Write down a list of things that you know you can really reach for, that you know in your soul are going to help you long-term. So for example, let's say you struggle with emotional eating. That is a security blanket that you could potentially reach for when you're feeling feelings of loneliness or sadness, or something terrible happened to you. Maybe emotional eating is one of your security blankets. So a plan you could combat and write down, my plan for this security blanket is to set up a beautiful spa-like bath with candles and bubble bath, and I'm going to set up my phone or my computer so I can play some nice spa music or watch Netflix, and I'm going to do that for 30 minutes. That's all I'm going to do for 30 minutes. I'm going to give myself a nice bath instead of choosing to go into the kitchen and reach for sugary foods or foods that I know really are not going to serve me. Does that make sense? So it's really figuring out what is the security blanket, creating a plan to help you in that moment. So when you know, when those moments hit, because they hit, those moments hit, you know what I'm talking about when you need your security blankets. Having plans for each and every one of those security blankets is really going to help you be able to combat them and then create internal change. Okay, so my fourth and last tip of this video is to work every day to remove toxicity from your life. And this is something that you're probably going to be doing for the rest of your life, because inevitably things come into our life, people come into our life, and situations come up in our life where we have to navigate toxicity and control how we react to things and move through difficult situations. Knowing how to navigate and move through and remove the things that are toxic to your healing is crucial. For me, something that I have really learned is to understand the people in my life and recognize the difference between people who make me backslide in life and in my healing, and the people who encourage my healing and help hold me up in my healing. I read this quote that was like, people are either gonna make you lose your mind or help you find it. And I think that is such a beautiful, straightforward quote, because it's very true. When you think about everybody in your life, you truly know in your soul who helps you, feeds your soul, and who drains your soul. And it's sometimes a very touchy, hard subject to talk about, because people and relationships are so important to us in our lives, and sometimes relationships end because they are no longer serving us, and maybe you're in a space where you don't want a relationship to end, or you do and the other person doesn't, or whatever. It can be a very, very touchy situation, because it's not super simple to just, I often hear people say, like, cut out the toxic people, just cut them out. And it's like, I know firsthand that that is not always easy to do. That's not the simplest thing to do, but I know that it's crucial and it's necessary. And if there is someone in your life that goes against your healing and is constantly making you backslide in life, they're not worth it. Like, they're not worth it. So removing toxic people in your life can look a lot of different ways, but the one thing that I would advise you to do if there's someone toxic in your life that you need to remove is to simply cut communication. You have every right to cut communication with someone who is toxic to your healing. Every right. So don't ever think that that is not okay. Even if they're a family member, even if they're your best friend, It doesn't matter. Even if this is the closest person to you in your life, if they are toxic to your healing, you have every right to cut communication with them. And you have to understand that that is not you being rude or mean. That is you simply putting up a boundary. And I could make a whole video about boundaries. So if you want to know more about boundaries, let me know. That is today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I apologize for this lighting. I'm filming later in the day, which I realize now was probably not a good idea in terms of lighting, but you know, what are you gonna do? Thank you so much for watching this video regarding self-care and self-love and soul care. Like what I did there? Soul care. I love that. So if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you very soon in a new video.